In the hush of reverence, we gather to witness the holy presence that transcends all earthly bounds. Selected 1. A person who professed to love you is going through 10 times as much pain as they attempted to cause you. Because you were persecuted for doing the right thing, the roles have been reversed. I'll demonstrate to you in the coming minutes that your persecution wasn't just idle pestering. With your entire victory and their complete defeat, the spiritual initiation has just come to an end. Since no one has ever described how divine justice functions in the real world, you haven't yet noticed a pattern even though the proof is already showing up in your reality. You are a chosen one, and that title just passed the most rigorous test the universe could come up with, turning it from theory to actuality. The same individuals who attempted to destroy you have now become living examples of your spiritual standing, and they are unaware that they are promoting your strength to everyone who is witnessing their demise. The worst portion of their suffering hasn't even begun yet, and that's going to shatter your mind. Something really evil had been done by your persecutor. Each of the 3 groups they had enlisted to battle you thought they were fighting for a worthy cause. Mercenaries were the first group. They were paid directly, and money was exchanged in coffee shops and parking lots, each transaction purchasing another month of planned harassment. The second group consisted of emotionally manipulated people who believed that you had seriously hurt your persecutor and that justice was due. The third group consisted of those who were jealous, fed cleverly constructed tales about your unmerited success, and who sincerely thought it was righteous to bring you down. However, this is where their grand scheme sowed the seeds of its own destruction. They had wildly misjudged the nature of the creature they were up against. The initial financial attacks included last-minute project sabotage, unexplained chances disappearing, and money that should have flowed smoothly unexpectedly encountering insurmountable barriers. They intended for you to panic, scramble, and be forced into a situation where you would have to crawl back to them for assistance. Instead, they learned something that will follow them around for the rest of their lives. They were unable to purchase, touch, or even influence the source of your security. As their hired assailants approached you, they started to see something that would eventually completely upend this conflict. According to every psychological warfare handbook ever published, people are broken by coordinated pressure. Even the most resilient targets are eventually broken by persistent emotional abuse. According to every manipulation specialist, according to every precedent in your persecutor's past, what they were doing ought to have destroyed you in a matter of weeks. Rather, you stayed totally, unnaturally, impossibly stable, which is against every principle of human psychology. You stepped past each trap they laid, without even realizing it was there. Like stones thrown at an armored car, every emotional trick they used bounced off you. Every effort to elicit a response was met with the eerie silence that results from functioning on a frequency entirely different from that of the average person. Yellow heart if you feel the divine love. Now is the time to share. Click the super thank you button on YouTube to contribute $50 or more and help us spread God's blessings. What you do is being watched and serves as a seed, and in the future it will come back to you a millionfold. You continued to work. You continued to develop. As a literal circus performed around you in an attempt to capture your attention, you continued to concentrate on your real obligations. They started to fall apart in unexpected ways as a result of this reaction, this total reluctance to participate in their play. Your persecutors' meticulously gathered soldiers were beginning to disintegrate behind the scenes. The sponsored participants started to wonder why they were going for someone who appeared to be really calm and optimistic. People who had been emotionally coerced began to see contradictions in the tales they had been told. Additionally, the jealous ones were getting close enough to observe your true personality, and what they saw totally defied all they had been taught. Even some of your assailants were starting to have romantic feelings for you. The signs were already there for anyone who was paying attention. Covert meetings, whispered conversations, a counter-conspiracy developing right under their nose, ready to deal the most devastating blow they could conceive. Your persecutor was unaware that their own weapon was about to be turned against them. First, though, They were going to learn what happens when you attempt to break someone who has been marked as unbreakable by the cosmos. Your assailants went through a desperate phase as their plans failed one by one, exposing their actual selves and causing events that would haunt them for the rest of their lives. After discovering that tact was ineffective, your persecutors started acting more and more rashly, which would soon have disastrous results. They began showing off their new relationships out of pure malice, believing that if you saw them with someone else, you would become envious and desperate. Rather, every new relationship just served to highlight how wise it was to keep your distance. However, these spite relationships had unspoken prices that would be discovered long later and would result in a price that your persecutors could never have predicted. The amount of surveillance increased to that of stalkers. They followed you about like predators do when they hunt. They appeared at your home, place of employment, and peaceful spots. They wanted you to feel as though you were being watched, pursued, and in danger. They were unaware that powers beyond their comprehension were documenting this behavior and constructing a strong case against them in the cosmic courts of justice. The civil conflict raging within their enlisted forces threatened to destroy everything your persecutor had worked so hard to achieve. Unexpected consciences were emerging in the paid participants. Some started to have nightmares about going after someone who had never done anything wrong. Others were beginning to feel that they were on the wrong side of something larger than they realized, and they were wondering if the money was worth it. However, the most perilous development was occurring among people who were supposed to approach you. Their task was to identify your pressure points, research your flaws, and provide a report on your vulnerabilities. Rather, they were learning things that caused them to reevaluate everything they believed to be true about this circumstance. Your poise under duress was true strength, not conceit. Your composure was wisdom gained throughout unimaginable adversity, not coldness. Your boundaries sparked something they had never experienced before because they were based on self-respect rather than malice. A few of these infiltrators were so enamored with you that they were on the verge of betraying their employer. They would soon be on opposing sides, because they were too preoccupied with their fixation on you to see that their weapon was being used against them. Your persecutor was totally unaware of the mutiny that was developing within their own ranks. A law your persecutor had never understood, however, was going to be demonstrated by the universe. Whatever you throw toward a chosen one eventually returns back to you, multiplied. One of the unchangeable laws that govern the universe was poised to unleash its might in your persecutor's life with deadly accuracy. Energy never returns to its original source by itself. Your alignment with divine purpose had shielded you, but your enemies lacked that protection, though not in ways they could immediately identify. The bad vibes they had been sending your way started to circle back to them with compound interest. The reversal began quietly. The precise emotional states that your primary persecutor had attempted to instill in you started to manifest. Obsession, desperation, insomnia, and an inability to concentrate on anything important. They lacked spiritual resources, heavenly protection, and a greater purpose to ground them, in contrast to their fictionalized version of you. Their spite relationships, which were intended to make you jealous, were costing them dearly. Long-lasting health effects that outlasted the fleeting joy of believing they were harming you. Harm to their reputation among important people, and emotional scars that would prevent them from forming real connections for years to come. The cruelest irony, however, was still accumulating toward its climax. Do you recall the infiltrators who were supposed to research your weaknesses? They were experiencing something unexpected. In ways far beyond human intelligence networks, the cosmos was using its own weapon against your assailant. You were starting to acquire a sense of things before they happened, receiving hunches about situations to stay away from, and you were inexplicably ahead of every plan they came up with. Your assailant was unable to comprehend why their meticulously planned traps continued to fail, why their surprise attacks were never unexpected, and why you always appeared to be one step ahead. That half of their army had defected, and was now serving as your covert protection team was unknown to them. However, the universe's manifestation of cosmic justice was not yet complete. The worst outcomes were yet to come, and they would manifest in ways that would make your persecutor face the full extent of their failure. The cosmic scales were about to balance themselves in the most intimate and personal manner imaginable. Every action has an equal and opposite reaction. Dove, brother and sister, everything done in faith is returned in God's abundance. You can donate $100 using the Super Thank You button and be part of this divine call. If your roots are connected to Him, your fruit will be blessed. The ramifications of the spike connections your persecutor had entered to incite your jealousy would last a lifetime. Obsession and retaliation had drove them to act recklessly, putting their health in danger in ways that cannot be reversed with remorse or apology. The bodily repercussions served as daily proof of what occurs when someone tries to destroy a chosen one, and your persecutor was now confronted with ongoing reminders of their attempts to harm you. However, they were unable to acknowledge the link between their present pain and their previous behavior without admitting how utterly they had miscalculated the people they were interacting with. The compensated participants were undergoing their own manifestations of cosmic justice. Some were losing their jobs after their harassment campaigns were made public. Others were facing legal repercussions for crossing boundaries they couldn't uncross, and some were learning that focusing on a chosen person had unanticipated spiritual repercussions that interfered with their ability to sleep, maintain mental clarity, and look in the mirror. The fact that some of these hired assailants had done the unimaginable, fall deeply and truly in love with you, may have been the most painful of all. They had developed a strong affinity for the same person they were meant to harm. They had fallen in love with someone they had harmed, someone who would never trust them, and someone who stood for everything they had been hired to destroy, and now they were stuck in an impossible situation. These defectors were torn between disclosing their role in the plot against you and their increasing love for you. Some were covertly undermining their once supporters, while others were offering you defense you were unaware you required. They were all living with the knowledge that they had taken part in the assault on the individual who had taken on a central role in their lives. Your adversary was going to learn that their meticulously planned campaign had produced a group of people who were more devoted to you than to them, and some of these individuals possessed insider knowledge that might totally destroy your adversary. The psychological strain of witnessing your success as their own life fell apart was driving your persecutor to the brink, where their entire perspective would be shattered in one catastrophic instant. They had staked everything, reputation, money, connections, and mental health, in the hope that you would return to them in a broken and desperate state. Instead, everyone could see that you were thriving beyond their wildest expectations. However, the last punch came coming from an unexpected angle. Ronos, you're going to start a new relationship with someone deserving of you, someone who can equal your energy and support your mission, someone who embodies all the qualities your persecutor aspired to but was never able to attain. It was never intended for you to travel this route by yourself. The Obsidian Inner Order is a haven for the exiles, the awakened, and those who have been abandoned for their truth and gaslight for their gifts. It is more than simply another religious organization. Every week, real individuals with real faces share their transformational tales in a live Zoom gathering. A healer who overcame ritual abuse and discovered their power, a former CFO who accepted their psychic skills, and a seer who liberated themselves from religious oppression. Numerous others join us who are well aware of your experiences. Your spiritual family is this group. I will never abandon you. I will never allow you to experience this enlightenment by yourself. I will never ignore your pain as if it were a sign of disdain. For us, the family that chooses you back, your exile from the everyday world was a prelude to this, not a punishment. Join the inner order of Obsidians. Something deep within their mind will be shattered by this realization, but not in the way they anticipate. The abrupt, terrible revelation of what they have truly been battling for will cause the destruction, not jealousy. They had persuaded themselves that they were fighting for love, but harassment campaigns are not organized by love. They had convinced themselves that they were fighting for justice, but armies of paid assailants are not necessary for justice. They thought they were fighting for something moral, but morality doesn't want to destroy innocent people. Your persecutor will finally see what they have been doing. That is, they have been battling against the very will of God. In that epiphany, they have been attempting to manipulate something that is a part of the cosmos. They have been trying to take possession of someone who is shielded by powers they cannot understand, and they have suffered a total, irreversible, and permanent loss. Defectors who have fallen in love with you are getting ready to tell everything because they can't bear to keep secrets from someone they respect, not because they want forgiveness. These admissions will expose the entire extent of what has been done to you and show something important. Once they felt your energy, even those who were hired to harm you were powerless to stop it. Your adversary is going to discover that they have not only failed to shatter you, but they have unintentionally shown your strength to everyone who has seen this spiritual conflict. It's time for divine justice to manifest itself in ways that cannot be rejected or explained away, as the cosmos has been witnessing this entire drama play out. Your attackers have been concentrating on you while ignoring the true threats in their own lives. Enemies they have built through vicious tactics are closing in. Unresolved legal issues are catching up with them, and health issues brought on by stress and careless behavior are showing up in ways that are impossible to conceal. But you're about to enter the most fortunate time of your life, and it's getting harder for anyone to ignore the contrast. The same heavenly power that has kept you safe during this experience is now prepared to provide you concrete, noticeable rewards for your loyalty. There are opportunities that appear almost too good to be true. People are coming into your life who see your worth right away and who appear to be sent by God to help you with your goal. Your financial circumstances are changing in ways that are not consistent with economic theory. Your connections are growing deeper than you ever imagined. Your living arrangements are improving to reflect your higher spiritual standing. Your exterior reality is changing to mirror the interior development you have attained as a result of these hardships. As your covert protection force, the recruited attackers who have fallen in love with you are thwarting any last-ditch schemes against you and making sure that their once allies cannot hurt you. Some people are getting ready to come clean in the hopes of receiving forgiveness they know they don't deserve, but must nevertheless ask for. The most destructive kind of cosmic justice is being experienced by your persecutor, who is watching all of this from their self-imposed exile. They have to watch as the exact cosmos they were fighting against gives you everything they attempted to deny you. However, the ultimate manifestation of divine intervention is still to come, a revelation that will compel all parties to acknowledge the underlying spiritual significance of the events that have been taking place. Something lovely is emerging in the midst of your victory, which will be the ultimate evidence of your spiritual standing and the total failure of your persecutor's plan. You're going to meet your true love, someone who will see your strength and want to build on it rather than diminish it, someone who will hear about your struggles and feel protective rather than threatened, someone who will see your value right away and never make you doubt it. This will be a divine appointment rather than merely a romantic one. The cosmos will soon show that cosmic forces intervene to guarantee that destiny plays out even more exquisitely than anticipated when someone attempts to prevent a chosen one from achieving their goals. Your actual character will become apparent when the difference between this healthy love and your persecutor's destructive passion becomes so pronounced. The version used by your persecutors has been manipulation masquerading as loyalty, control masquerading as caring, and possession masquerading as affection. Freedom, support, sincere partnership, and respect for one another will characterize this new love. Watching from the shadows, your persecutor is about to suffer the last devastating blow to their illusions. At last, they will realize that their struggle has never been for love, but rather for possession of an unattainable object. When they witness you with someone who actually deserves you, the defectors who fell in love with you will finally realize the extent of what they helped to damage. They are facing their own reckoning. Others will acknowledge their role, which will start discussions that will expose the entire extent of the plot against you. There will be guardians who choose to keep quiet, shielding you from unknown threats. The ramifications of your persecutor's spiteful interactions are lifelong and irreversible. Your career is integrating with your calling in ways that feel effortless and natural as you prepare to create something timeless with someone who will never control or manipulate you. Someone who will support your purpose rather than compete with it. Someone who will celebrate your strength rather than try to undermine it. You're starting to receive money in unexpected ways. Your living arrangements will soon be upgraded to reflect your newfound prominence. Glowing star, if you want to witness God's miracles, act now. Contribute $100 or more through Super Thank You on YouTube. Your offering is like a seed that comes back to you when planted. Let His light illuminate your steps. Every donation is an echo in His plan. While everything in your persecutor's life keeps going downhill, everything in yours is going uphill. With mathematical accuracy, the cosmic scales are balancing themselves. Every attack they launched at you is coming back to you in greater numbers, and every blessing they attempted to keep from you will come to you with more heavenly favor. The cosmos isn't done proving its fairness, though. The last realization that will fully explain everything you have survived and why is on the horizon. The significance of all you have gone through will become abundantly evident as your new life starts to take shape, and the realization will be deeper than you could have ever dreamed. You are passing with flying colors after being put through every test a chosen one can undergo. People who attempted to take advantage of your kindness put it to the test, yet you stayed compassionate without becoming gullible. People who attempted to cross your limits put you to the test, yet you remained firm without becoming mean. You trusted the process even if you couldn't see the end result, and your confidence was put to the test by situations that didn't appear to make sense. Your reactions have demonstrated that you are prepared for the higher life that is currently taking place, and every attack against you has served as a test of your spiritual growth. The persecution you endured was a cosmic examination conducted by the cosmos itself, not a case of arbitrary cruelty. They performed their responsibilities flawlessly, even as they killed themselves, by using your persecutor and their enlisted troops as unintentional tools of your spiritual education, unknowingly serving your destiny. Your persecutor has pushed you toward blessings and personal development that you might not have otherwise experienced. By divine alchemy, every plan they came up with became a step closer to your goal. In reality, the attacks that were intended to destroy you have polished you like fire-purified gold. Better than ever, you are coming out of this stronger, wiser, and better suited to your calling. For the remainder of your journey, you will benefit from the clarity you are obtaining about who belongs in your life and who doesn't. Now you know why you have been so safe during this ordeal. The world cares too much about your success to let anyone ruin your plans. Since the time they decided to defy divine will, your persecutor has been battling against cosmic powers that are beyond their comprehension, and their defeat was certain. The best evidence of your spiritual strength can be found in the recruited assailants who have fallen in love with you. Even those who were designed to destroy you were unable to withstand your energy after first-hand encounter. Your light is so brilliant that it turns opposition into protection, hatred into love, and adversaries into guards. Your story is evolving into something more than a personal victory as the cycle completes itself. It will serve as a model for other selected individuals going through comparable difficulties, and an illustration of how divine justice functions in the material world. The demise of your persecutor will serve as a warning about what happens when someone attempts to exert control over someone who is shielded by cosmic forces. Their financial difficulties, marital breakdowns, health issues, and spiritual emptiness are all turning into enduring reminders of what happens when people defy God's will. For the rest of their life, the defectors who have fallen in love with you will carry their covert devotion with them, acting as your unseen shield when necessary. Some will acknowledge their role and be granted forgiveness they don't merit, serving as live examples of your forgiveness. Others will serve as quiet protectors, making sure that you are never subjected to another attack of this nature. Your new companion will appreciate the extent of your survival and feel privileged to share a life with someone who has been put to the test and come out on top. Together, you will build something that embodies all that your persecutor's version could never have been: wholesome, encouraging, purpose-driven, and endowed with heavenly favor. Your gifts and calling are being precisely matched with the possibilities that are coming your way. You will need the financial abundance that is starting to come in order to complete your purpose. The individuals who are joining your orbit have been handpicked to enhance your mission and foster your development. You are becoming living evidence that the cosmos rewards those who uphold their integrity under unfathomable strain, that heavenly protection is real and quantifiable, and that persecution of the righteous always ends badly. No matter where they are, your persecutor will act as a continual reminder to anyone thinking about doing similar action. Attacking a chosen person exposes you to not only their resistance, but also the entire cosmic order that is protecting them. The persecution is coming to an end. The triumph is becoming final and irrevocable.